Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I am your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Hope everybody had a great day trading the markets. If this is your first time on the video or your first time on the channel, welcome. Glad you were able to make it in. We do the same thing every day. We look at the same 8 to 12 futures markets, and we leave our lines on the charts. The reason we leave the lines on the charts is it helps to hold us all accountable. It gives everybody a chance to see how positions develop over time and the results of some of the trades that we look at from a daily perspective. So let's go ahead and spare no time and dive into it. Let's go ahead and start with the S&P. The S&P today was one of those ones where Mama told me there'd be days like this, and the market came screaming down on the S&P, stopped me out, and then immediately ran back up. Came back down again, ran back up again. Now, this was a level that was in the purple. Now, a purple level is found on small time frames. You can see here we're on the 15-minute chart. If I look at it on the hourly chart, you'll see that it's a ridiculously tiny level. And the reason that we picked it was, well, frankly, the reason I picked it was because I got to have something. And I was looking for an opportunity. I will tell you, I kind of felt like this was a force a little bit, and I probably shouldn't have done it. Set it up anyway, didn't necessarily work out. But by the way, that's going to happen at times. If you took the whole pivot area, meaning you just took this whole area here, there's a chance you still got stopped out, although probably a little bit smaller, and you probably still were able to ride out the move. We're continuing to move up from there. I'm just not willing to short this market. And so even though there's a little bit of supply up above me, I'm not willing to short it. There's no selling area up here that I'm interested in. There's a little bit of a level there on the 15-minute chart, but nothing that I'm going to risk my account on. In the Nasdaq, I was actually just speaking to a friend of mine who said he was able to catch the low of the Nasdaq today and ride it back up. Nice job. It was not a level that I had looked at yesterday. It's this little pivot area right in here. For those of you, some of you that were able to take it, nice job catching that little bit of a low point in the Nasdaq and kind of riding it back up. It's continuing to ride up. I will tell you, for me and my risk tolerance, there's still nothing on here that I like. There's nothing on here that is shaking its finger at me saying, hey, here's a good trade. I do like this area down here. It's significantly lower, but it is an area that maybe you can put on your charts for a smaller time frame opportunity. So I'm going to put this one at least on here. Remember, it's on a 15-minute chart, so we're going to use the purple as it is a smaller time frame level. All right, so after the Nasdaq, we will take a look at crude oil. Crude oil, many people, I've talked to a lot of you that are still long after this run, this latest run up. We are consolidating again on the hourly chart. This could be an opportunity to get short on a breakdown below this 50, call it 56.90 area. If you're willing to get short on a breakdown below that 56.90 level, I think there's room to run it down to 56.17. I am not going to be doing that one. Personally, I don't like it well enough. I don't think there's enough profit margin to make the risk worth the reward. I also don't necessarily want to trade against when I look at this on a daily chart. That's a really strong, that's a parabolic, nearly a parabolic move up. On a weekly time period, when we start to really go back and look, you do have an area of resistance right about here where we may pull back from just a little bit, but I'm just not willing to test it on a small time frame level. I may look at that more tomorrow morning, and see if there is a confirmed reversal on the hourly chart. But in order to get that, I'd need to get a lower swing low, and I don't have a lower swing low yet. So still not interested. As far as a long goes, I'd need to pull back to one of these levels down in here. Gold. Gold we haven't been touching, and the reason we haven't been touching is because it's just been chopping around. And on the hourly chart, I don't want to, there's nothing in here that's really been exciting to me to take on the gold market, so we still have a level way up here at the 96 by 98 region. Going to our bond markets and our currency markets. Now, bond markets, we had a breakout trade set up to go long above this level. Now, if you notice, we got a touch and a move away. Price touched the level and moved away. in reality, that makes me like the breakout even more. I'm going to do a lot of people had requested that we do a class on breakouts. I'm going to try to do a Facebook Live or a Twitter Live, or maybe I may do both at the same time, Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. After the kids go to bed, frankly, and I'll kind of go through what I look for in a breakout and why I like this kind of breakout setup right through here, and then it running up to this region. And I've got the wrong colors on here. This should be just a black line because those are not breakout potentials. I've had that level marked so long on my charts. It was before I started this formal system of lines. That's how long I've had that level marked on the charts. Aussie dollar. So the Aussie, we still have a level way up here. I will say that I do like one of these levels here that have formed recently. So if I zoom in on this hourly chart a little bit, I do like these levels here a bit. I like this one up here much more. The thing I'm not a huge fan of is the time of day that it was created. That gives me a slightly lower degree of probability. So I'm going to leave it be for now, although on an hourly chart, I will tell you, since we've got 4 consecutive candles with higher swing lows, or excuse me, higher highs on each candle and higher lows on each candle, if I get a candle with a lower low, I might be willing to take a short move. This is trading candle to candle, if you will. Because if you notice, when you get a strong move one direction or the other, you typically get higher high, same high, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. On a downward move, it's lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, higher high. So if you want to trade this thing candle to candle, if you get a lower low, then you can maybe take the short and then put your stop above the prior candle's high. It's a way to manage it candle to candle, a little bit more active. In the euro, nice little run up today in the euro off that little level down in here. Nothing that I was going to be really, diving too deeply into. I'm interested in this level right here, this 64.22 area, which was, kind of the old floor that became the new ceiling right through here. Not willing to place a trade on it yet. I still have a level just up above here that I'm going to leave in place. Still waiting on the big picture, by the way. For those of you guys that have been watching the channel for a while, we talked about talked about shorting the euro when it broke here. And so, that's been multiple weeks, and our longer term target was this 115 area, and it is indeed getting down to that region. So those of you that are longer term, you maybe were able to catch that when we first talked about it weeks ago. Canadian dollar. Here's another one. Mama told me there'd be days like this. I had a small time frame level set up. Price came in, instantaneous stop out. I mean, there was no, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Matter of fact, do not keep any money, give some away. As it broke down through the level. Now, interestingly enough, let's see if this old area, which acted as support, could act as a future resistance, and we see price reverse from here. It's not all bad, though. We do have some glimmers of hope. Glimmer of hope number one, I'm going to go right to it, is our copper trade. Copper level, we talked about yesterday how we had this rising wedge, and a rising wedge, a breakout to the downside is actually a pretty strong entry. We got a pretty nice breakdown out of here to the downside, so don't know if anybody's able to catch and capitalize on that breakdown move out of the rising wedge in copper. So that one has worked out effectively. Japanese yen still has not come into our levels that we have set up. Great British pound. So the pound today, price came into our level and then immediately has been trading straight up since there. Now, this is a small time frame level. Depending on how you manage the position, you may or may not have moved your stop to break even earlier in the move. We had talked about on the Twitter feed where I had posted something about moving that stop and taking some profits off the table when you did get just a little bit of a touch and go pretty early before the price then came back down in and gave you another entry. So depending on your risk tolerance, you may or may not still be in this thing. And if you are in this thing, I definitely would be looking at taking profits now. Although if we get above this 31.92, there is room for those horsies to gallop. There's plenty of room for price to run if we get above that 31.92 region. Matter of fact, I'm going to change that line to a blue to signify a breakout potential. And then Nat Gas, we actually did just break above our Nat Gas level. So our Nat Gas breakout level, we just hit here in the last couple of moments. So we would want to be keeping that stop fairly tight as we're not getting a big move out of it yet, but we definitely did get a little bit of a Nat Gas breakout level. So those are the levels that we have for today. Once again, those of you that asked about the breakout, I'm going to try to do a YouTube live and a Twitter live on Thursday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central. So feel free to come. I'm going to try to do a live one so that you can ask questions if you have them. I'll do my best to make sure I get as many of them answered as I can. I'm going to have my camera assistant there holding, also known as my wife, holding the phone and kind of keeping me on there. So if it's something that you want to watch, certainly feel free to come to the channel or catch me on the Twitter feed, and we will hopefully get all your questions answered, because I have been talking a lot more about breakouts recently, as it is a pretty effective strategy. So thank you so much, everybody, and until tomorrow, have a good day. Talk to you soon.